Well, hello friends, welcome back to Rocky Mountain Homestead. Today is the day before Thanksgiving. It's crazy. I don't know how we're already here, but here we are, and I am going to take you guys along while I prep as much of the sides and dishes as I can. Today, I'm also going to take you guys along and share our family's favorite recipes that we continue to use year after year for our Thanksgiving meal, and also show you guys some of the prep work that you can do to make for a much smoother Thanksgiving day where you're not in the kitchen all day long, which is what I used to do for many, many years. And each year I do more and more prep work to make it a little less stressful and a little bit more easier on me. It is 2 in the afternoon, a much later start than I was hoping to get, but we have sick kids. We're all kind of sick with a cold, so the morning we just kind of took it easy. I perform best at night than I do first thing in the morning, so that's fine with me. I got my coffee, I got my apron. I'm going to take you guys along, and let's go ahead and get started prepping for Thanksgiving. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take you guys along and share with you my Italian bread recipe. Now, I am going to be doubling this because I do plan with the leftover bread to make a French toast casserole for us for breakfast in the morning, so it's easy, ready to go in the fridge. So what I have here is 4 cups of warm water, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. Don't mind my guinea fowl in the background. They're having a good time outside. To that, I'm also going to add some sugar. And, oh, here it is. I have a little bag of sugar I actually need to use up. So I'm going to put in this 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. And then I'm going to get my flour. Now, when I'm making one single batch of this, I usually use 4 to 5 cups of flour. But because I'm doubling this, we're going to do, I'm going to start with probably 8. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now this is the bread that I use for my stuffing. I usually make this a couple days ahead of time, but we have had a lot going on. We had pie night. I had some fire training things I needed to do at the department. We were sick. We've had all kinds of things going on, but no worries, because what I actually do is I pop my bread in the dehydrator when I have to make it last minute, because you really want bread that's dried out. Yes, I can buy it at the store, but I try to avoid doing that. I try just making it myself, so that is what I'm doing. I'm going to be popping the bread into bite-sized pieces in the dehydrator later. Let's just go ahead and finish getting this started. So we're gonna do 4 teaspoons of sea salt. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to that, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of olive oil. So, oh, that is not a tablespoon. I know I had it out for yeast. I grabbed the wrong one. So 6 tablespoons of olive oil. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can use regular olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and then for flour, I just use a basic all-purpose flour, no bread flour or anything fancy. You can use bread flour if you want. I just use all-purpose. And then I'm going to come down here, get my dough hook, and I know already that I could potentially have to add another 2 cups of flour. I always just start at the lowest, because you can always add more. So I'm going to put this on a level 2. And the dough is still sticking to the sides. My tripod's been broke for like 2 months, and I finally got a new one. It's actually outside in a package. It was just delivered earlier. I just have not went and got it and put it together, so I might switch that out here shortly, so I can get some better angles for you guys. But I am going to go ahead and just add 1 whole cup of flour. And if it still needs more, I'm going to easily just add in little by little that last cup that we may need after all. And I may end up needing to use that last cup, so it may be a full 10 cups of flour. I'm going to add in little by little. My chute is not working very well. It's supposed to like just dump the flour in, but it's kind of getting stuck up there, so let's see if this does it. And I think it's going to need that full cup. So a total of 10 cups. Like I said, it's usually 4 to 5 for 1 loaf. This is 2, so it took 10 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to go ahead and let that knead now that it is clean off the bowl for about 5 minutes. Okay, it has been, and I have a little bit left in this chute that's going to fall out. It has been 5 minutes, so I'm going to get this bread dough out of the mixer. And we are going to get this bread dough rising, and I am going to take you guys along next, and I think we're going to knock out that sweet potato casserole. I'm going to wash up some sweet potatoes and show you how to get them roasting in the oven. So we can make a sweet potato casserole. I'm just going to knead this for a minute. I washed my counter. I took my rings off. So just make sure you have a clean surface. And then I think I'm out of my spray olive oil. I'm out of it in this cabinet. I'm not out of it. It's in my pantry. So what I'm going to do is just grab my bottle over on the side of olive oil. And we are going to let this dough rise for about 30 minutes. Let me grab my oil. And we're just going to oil the same bowl because I don't need it right this second. And I'm going to put this on the proof setting in my oven, or you can just put it under a light. Really, you just want to put it in the warmest spot of your kitchen. So I'm going to pop that in for 30 minutes, and we are going to start on some sweet potatoes. Okay, so what I am doing now is the sweet potatoes, and I already have my oven set. I'm trying to find a fork. I already have my oven set to roast these, and it is going... Okay, we had to stop for a minute. Go ahead and show me. There's a Lincoln log house that's been built. Thank you for showing me, Isaiah. I like it. Are you going to make another one? You're going to make a fence? All right, you show me the fence when it's done, okay? Okay. All right, sorry about that mom moment. Had to stop and see his Lincoln log house. I thought he was outside. As you can see, his face is covered in dirt. They're all outside playing out front, getting some fresh air because we have a ton of snow and cold, a ton of snow and cold temps coming tonight, all day tomorrow for Thanksgiving. So I told them enjoy it right now while it's, I don't know, I think it's in the 40s or 50s. But anyway, I guess he's inside playing and building a log house. He was so quiet, I didn't hear him. So we are going to poke holes in the sweet potatoes. And these are going to roast in the oven for about 40 to 50 minutes. And you just want it to be softened enough to where like you can easily pierce the potato with a fork. The recipe that I have used for years calls for about 4 cups of cubed sweet potatoes. And I used to do that and cook them on the stovetop in water, but it's much more flavorful if you roast them, I have found, and that's the way I do it. So, because I'm not cubing them, you know, there's all different sizes of potatoes, I always do a little extra. I'm fine if there's leftover sweet potato, it'll get eaten. But I want to make sure I have enough since it's almost an hour in the oven to roast, and I don't want to be short any. So I am doing 5 sweet potatoes, putting them in for 40 to 50 minutes. Okay, the next thing I am going to make is our pie crusts because I can't assemble the sweet potato casserole because the potatoes are roasting. Can't do the stuffing yet because our bread is rising. So like I said, I just try and knock out what I can do. So I am going to get the ingredients for our pie crust. I am making 2 pies. Let me see. I think we voted, I always do pumpkin regardless. I usually do pumpkin and cherry. We just did blueberry and apple for pie night. So my husband actually requested that I do blueberry and pumpkin for Thanksgiving because I didn't even get a piece of the blueberry pie. It was gone. It was like gone. So my husband's like, I want blueberry this year. I think he only got a tiny piece. So we're going to do blueberry, which I already have my blueberry pie filling ready to go. I can my pie fillings if you guys are new, and I did a canned pie filling for that blueberry pie. So that's easy. The filling's done. I just need to make the pie crust. So this recipe that I do, I'm going to have down in the description the regular amount just for a one pie double crust. So to make one pie, a double crusted pie, like I'm going to be doing for my blueberry pie. So I'm going to double this. Now the thing with that is I'm doubling this, so it's going to make 2 double crusted pies, the amount of dough. And because I'm doing pumpkin, I only need 1, so I'm going to pop that extra one in the freezer. I don't want to confuse you guys with this, but anyway, I am doubling this, like I said. So I added in, while I was talking, 3 cups of all-purpose flour. That's it, just regular all-purpose flour. And now I'm going to find my teaspoon. I'm going to get 2 teaspoons of, if I can find it, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. You can also use table salt or sea salt. I personally like to use the kosher salt. So I am once again doubling this. So 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. And then it's optional. You can add 2 tablespoons of sugar to this. And I do, ooh, oh my gosh, my tripod. Like I told you, it's broke. And now I just dripped olive oil in my coffee sitting over here because I use that for our bread. I love these. These are on Amazon. I'll link it down below, but they're double-sided. I use this for oil, and I'm going to turn around and now use this side of the tablespoon for my sugar and not get oil in my sugar bag. But anyway, you don't have to add sugar. It's optional. I like to. And then what I'm going to do is just give that a really quick pulse. Pressed down with only my nail. That didn't feel great. What, buddy? Hold on. Okay, so now, sorry about that. I usually do most of my prep work for Thanksgiving late at night when like the kids are all in bed. But that means like staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning. And I've done that every year, but this year I'm just really trying to see how much I can get done in the daytime. But yeah. We'll see how this goes. So anyway, I'm once again doubling it. So I am going to add in 2 cups of very cold unsalted butter. So this came straight from the fridge. And I'm just going to cube it up. I don't have you angled good. Maybe I need to open that package after all. I need a different tripod. This one, like, it'll fall out of nowhere and slide down. And yeah, it's balancing right now. It's actually balancing on my coffee cup. I have it like leaning against it. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. So I'm just going to cube this up using my bench scraper because that works good for this. And we're going to put these cubes in. It's actually starting to get a little windy out, so that front is moving in, and we're supposed to get, a good amount of snow. My dog will get that. That was a tiny, tiny bit of butter. All right, so we got that in. I am going to give this a couple pulses. I think that'll be good for right now. You just really, there's still a couple chunks in there. So I'm going to grab my spatula and kind of just mix it toward the bottom because, yeah, I usually only do a single amount in here at a time. Doubling it gets a little tricky, but I like to give it a finishing touch by hand with my pastry cutter. All right. we're gonna call that good. And now what I'm going to do, I need to somehow fit in my last 2 remaining cups of flour. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I could just throw it in a mixing bowl. I am like going through flour like nobody's business lately. I did just make sugar cookies I brought to the fire department for training last night and for my kids and stuff. They actually turned out really cute. I have a video on that. It's kind of like on a bake-a-thon, so I'll link it or throw it in the cards after the video, but it's a really good holiday baking video where I share a ton of different baking recipes. Anyway, the sugar cookie recipes in there, and they came out super cute. I am going to get some ice water. I thought I had that ready, but I didn't. So anyway, yeah, I made these sugar cookies, and I am going through flour. These are both flour. And my 5-gallon bucket's about empty, which is why we buy in bulk and stock our pantry, because I have a couple 25-pound bags I can just pull out and keep replenishing what I'm using as I'm using it. So I actually have this wet rag. It's just water, and I'm just going to wipe down my mess real quick. Okay, I had to kind of clean up and put away a little bit of my mess. Yeah, so I'm going to get my hand pastry mixer because there's just a couple large pieces of butter in here. Still not a big deal. I'm just going to get this mixed up a little bit more. And then you want to have ice cold water because the next step you're just going to add in 4, my kids, they're so cute, 4 to 8 tablespoons if you're making a single amount. So for me, I'm going to want to add in 8 to 16 tablespoons. You really just want the dough moistened enough to where like you can pinch it together and it stays. That's all you want. This is a super delicious flaky buttery crust. This is the only pie crust I do besides like or the only recipe I should say I do besides graham cracker crust for like a cheesecake or a key lime pie. This is my go-to. This is the only recipe I use for pie crust. We just love it. And it always gives great results, beautiful taste. So I'm going to start adding this in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, don't want an ice cube in there. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to start at the lowest and get my wooden spoon and start kind of mixing this in a little bit. And then I am going to add in probably 4 more and see where we're at. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all the little boys are building with their Lincoln Logs in their room. And the other older kids, I think, are outside playing. Yeah, we got a lot of snow. I think it's going to be like 11 degrees. I don't know. It's going to be really cold. We have some cold temperatures coming. So I actually need to try and get outside today and kind of make sure our animals are good. And everything's kind of topped off out there. Let's see. We'll do 4 more. So 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all of that. So 16 tablespoons if you're doubling it, probably 8 if you're only doing a single amount. And yep, it is exactly what you want. It is a little dry on the bottom. I'm just trying to mix this all in really well and kind of press it against itself and get all those crumbs on the bottom to stick together. I hope I have a good angle for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to pause it after this and set my new tripod up because this one's not doing so great. So, okay, see how it like forms? I don't want to get it all over my counter, but see how it forms and sticks together? That's exactly what you want. And I'm saying I don't want to get it all over my counter, and I'm about to dump it all out on my counter. So, I don't know what I'm thinking there. Once again, hands are clean. Counter's been wiped down besides my flour mess I'm making. There we go. Oh my gosh. You guys, I pressed pause and did not re-record. I just looked at my camera to pause it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was not recording that whole time. So I am so sorry about that. I'm super frustrated. Basically, when you dump it out, as you can see some of the crumbs, I can't believe I just did that. As you can see, it's going to be a lot of crumbs in a pile, basically. You're going to plop it out on your counter and you're just going to sit there and incorporate all the crumbs. It's going to be one big mound. So all you're trying to do is form one big mound. I can't believe this. I had my scale out and everything, and I'm sitting here thinking I'm recording. Anyway, you're going to shape it into a mound. It'll take like 2 or 3 minutes because there are a lot of crumbs that come out, and it's got a lot of butter in it. So it's like very easy to shape. But anyway, your thing, once you dump it out, you just want to shape it into a mound, basically, is what you want to do. And then you take your bench scraper, which is what I just did, and you section it off, and you don't have to be exact, but I did, and I weighed it out, and I showed you guys that this is about anywhere from 11 to 12 ounces each thing. Oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated. I explained every single step, and now I'm like, what did I already say? What didn't I say? Because I was kind of talking ahead. Okay, so I'm not going to go back and see what I actually said, but anyway, you shape them basically into discs because you're going to put these in the fridge for about 1 hour minimum. It's going to be a couple hours for me because I got a lot of other things going on the side, which is fine. You can freeze these. These also freeze beautifully. Used within about 3 to 4 months. You can do that in advance if you really want to prepare within, in advance. But anyway, so about 11 to 12 ounces for each disc. You're going to want to put them in sandwich bags, and that's actually where I walked away to pause my camera, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't record that, so hang on. I cannot believe I did that. Anyway, you can use individual sandwich bags if you want. I usually do, and now I'm thinking, like, why use 4 sandwich bags when I can just shove them all in a gallon Ziploc? I don't know. But now I know. Like, oh yeah, that can work too. So I'm going to pop these in the fridge for a couple hours. What did I say while I was doing all that that would be important? I don't know. I think it was just really, yes, it's going to look crumbly at first. That's correct. That's how it should look. It is a delicious, flaky, buttery crust. It's absolutely amazing. It's our go-to for all our pies that we need pie dough for. Anyway, so I'm going to pop these in the fridge and clean up my mess, and our timer went off for our Italian bread dough. Okay, I preheated my oven. You're going to want this Italian bread to go in a 425 degree oven. Once again, I doubled it, so it's like right up to the top of the bowl. So 425 degrees. That's preheating, and I am going to get this dough out of here and get my cookie sheet. This house is really making me hungry for Thanksgiving right now. Between the smell of the bread dough and the sweet potatoes baking, I am like, okay, it's feeling more like Thanksgiving. It just, I don't know if this year flew so fast. I feel like, let me get a knife, hold on. I feel like it's not really this time of year, and it doesn't, I don't know. There's so much going on right now in the world. I personally, in the past couple days, have been, well, for a while now, just really disheartened at the way things are going in the world. And I don't know, it's like trying to, be happy and do all the normal things you do this time of year with what's going on around the world right now. It's hard. It's really hard. But for the kids' sake, I'm trying to just like not get consumed. But I think that's really helped, and contributed to just that feeling of like, is this really this time of year? We have our trees up, the house is gorgeous. We have the lights up and everything, and, I'm wrapping presents. I've done most of the kids' shopping for Christmas, and it's just like, kind of like a little bit of a funk. It's like, I need to shake this. But anyway, yeah, the smells in this house though right now. I'm like, all right, yep, it is. It's Thanksgiving. So I'm just spreading this out. I have another video, maybe I'll add to a card too, that I do this more thoroughly, talking to you guys if you're new or a beginner of what to do, what to look for when you're making this bread dough. And I don't have a microphone on me right now, so I'm trying to talk really loud so you guys can hear me. So sorry if I'm not talking loud enough. But anyway, so you're gonna pinch your seams. But yeah, I'll try and link that video too. I think it was my rodeo video when we were going to the rodeo. I did 2 loaves of bread just to share that recipe with you guys. So beautiful bread. I use it for all different kinds of things, but I absolutely love it for our stuffing. And it's just so easy to do at home. Super simple ingredients. Like, you know, if you're already cooking, you know, or bake, you already probably have yeast in your house. You have salt, you have flour, you have oil. You know, it doesn't get much simpler than that. And it's so versatile. You can do like French bread pizzas with this bread, cheesy garlic toast, regular garlic toast. You can make sandwiches with this. You can, this is not, I do have an Italian sub roll recipe specifically, but you can make like big sandwiches out of this if you'd like to. Just so many different uses. French toast casserole, that is why I'm making a second one, because that's absolutely incredible. I don't even know if I did a video on it. I know I've talked about wanting to do one, but sometimes I talk and it doesn't come to pass for whatever reason. Like I actually told somebody I was going to do my wing recipe video and then change of plans. We had to go down the hill that night and we had not made pizza since, and so I didn't do wings since, and I'm like, I have got to make that video next time. So anyway, I'm gonna get a serrated knife and I'm just going to make I personally, you can do what you want at this point. You can brush it and throw seasoning on it. You can sprinkle like rosemary, olive oil, whatever you want to do if you want a flavored Italian bread, but this is just for stuffing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is just for stuffing, so I just want a plain bread, but it is going to have the shiny appearance, so I'm going to make an egg wash real quick. Okay, washing this egg reminded me I need to deliver a dozen eggs tomorrow. Oh no, that is not big enough. I don't know what I was thinking. Hold on, let me get a different dish. Actually, I'm going to pop it in my cup right here that I have that's empty. I don't know what I was thinking, but it definitely... Oh, we're bringing dogs in. All right, sorry about that. My dog Ellie is in. They were in the flat spot with the kids with the gate up, and she jumped the fence and wanted to wander around. I personally don't let my dogs wander around the neighborhood, so she is in timeout, aren't you, Ellie? So I have my egg, I have my water in here, just doing an egg wash. If you don't want the golden color on bread, which who wouldn't, but you can use just egg white with a little bit of water. But me personally, I like the golden look, even if it's just going to be chopped up and used for stuffing. Woody! Hey, Woody! What? You can have one. Anyway, my kids have been playing outside for quite a while. He's like, can we have a juice box? Yep. Yes. They're probably thirsty. They haven't hardly come in at all except the littles. I think it's starting to get a little cooler out. So anyway, you're just going to brush this with the egg wash. And then we are going to pop it in the oven. Yes, honey. Make sure the fridge shuts. Okay, now they all heard the word juice box and all want a juice box. So, okay. That's fine. Mama needs a kitchen. Mommy needs to cook right now. Whatever keeps them content for the moment. Try and get done what I can. Ellie, no. Yep, she found that little cube of butter. Ellie, oh my goodness. Okay. So, I'm going to pop these in the oven. They have the egg wash on them now for 18. No. Not 18. That's my other dough. For 20 to 25 minutes. I pull these usually at about 22 mark. That works for me. Every oven's different. So I'm going to pop these in the oven for 22 minutes, but ovens vary. So you start checking on it at about 20 minutes and I don't think you need to go higher than 25 minutes. So 20 to 25 minutes for you guys, 22 for me. So what I'm going to do now is assemble the green bean casserole. I use the regular traditional way of doing it, you know, the cream of soup type recipe. Although we do not eat mushrooms, we do not like mushrooms. So in place of the 2 cans, I think it's 2 cans because I double that for us too. But in place of the 2 cans, I just use cream of chicken. My guinea fowl are going nuts. They're so stinking funny. Can you hear them? I don't know who couldn't hear them. They're so funny. One of them, well, if you've seen my other videos, you know, my yard's like super crazy, rocky, mountainy terrain. And like they could jump easily on the lower part roof of our house. And one of them had the idea to do that. And then the other two freaked out and like must have talked it down because it changed its mind and flew down. I'm like, their personality is so funny. I don't know what in the world's going on, but the green bean casserole instructions have changed. They have changed, and I don't recognize the changes. But now there's soy sauce in it. I've never seen that before. I always look at like the back of the cans, but I'm using frozen, so I don't have that. I'm not doing soy sauce because I'm just not. And it says 1 can of condensed soup, so I'm gonna do 2. Oh, or celery soup. Maybe, you know what? It's celery soup that I usually use, and I don't think I have any. Okay, I don't have cream of celery soup. Shame on me. I was not prepared with that. It is cream of celery soup I usually use. I don't have that. So we're going to do cream of chicken because that's totally okay. That's okay. We're going to work with what we got. I'm not making special trips right now, to be honest. So we're doubling it. I'm going to do a 13 by 9. So I have my glass dish ready to go. And I don't think you have to grease it. At least I never have. Greased it. Nope, I haven't. So what I'm going to do is just mix in the ingredients straight into this since I don't have to grease the pan. Hold on. Okay, I had to get Ellie to lay down because I love my dogs, but I do not like animals in my kitchen when I'm cooking. I just don't. Okay, so now my 1 cup is taken by my egg wash. So let me find a 1/2 cup. Oh my goodness gracious. 1/2 cup. Okay, so we have a 1/2 cup. So what you would want for the regular amount is 4 cups of green beans. Because I'm doubling this, I am going to do 8. Okay, I wasn't going to sit there and count and bore you guys. So I have my 8 cups of green beans in the 13 by 9. I am going to actually probably make things a little simpler and just dump out. Let's see if I don't have to use a spoon here. Dump out the cream. Oh, come on. One plops right out, and this one's going to be a pain. This is the Azure Standard Pacific cream of chicken soup. I switched to that. I don't know, a little bit better about that. But anyway, and then I'm going to need 1 cup of milk. So my debate that I'm doing right now, I know a lot of people make stuff ahead of time, like way more prepared than like the day before Thanksgiving. I know some people who freeze pies like a whole month before Thanksgiving. I don't do that, nor would I probably ever. I like doing it close to the date. Me personally, you know, everyone, you know, can do what they want. But I usually make the majority of stuff on Thanksgiving Day. And that's gotten a little old. So now I try to at least prep things the night before, like I'm doing right now. But what I usually do is like I'll assemble the sweet potato casserole. I'll put foil on it. I'll write the oven temperature with black permanent marker on the foil. I'll write the oven temperature and the time to cook, and that's it. And then I cook it the next day. Now, I've never personally had a problem. With cooking stuff the day of. I know the big deal about like, you know, cooking things ahead of time, and a lot of people just reheat it the day of, is oven space. We do have 2 ovens, which obviously the turkey's in one the whole entire time. And then you have 1 oven for sides, and then you have different temperatures for sides. I have personally always been able to juggle that, and I've never had a problem. While the turkey's resting is when I'm usually putting sides in. So I'll have sides going in 1 oven, and then when the turkey comes out to rest, I, you know, have the tent of foil over it while it cools down and sits and rests for, you know, about 20 to 25 minutes. So that's plenty of time. Like all my sides only need like 20 to 30 minutes max. So I usually will pop stuff in that oven that I had the turkey in. And that's how I've always juggled it. This year, I'm like, should I try cooking it today and reheating it tomorrow? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm in debate about that. Because I don't have a problem doing that. And I feel like reheating, I don't know. I really don't know how I feel, because then you wouldn't have to have different oven temperatures if you just reheat it the next day, because you're really just reheating it. But I don't want to dry it out. So I don't know what temperature you would actually reheat it at to thoroughly warm up through. I don't know. I'm in debate. I'm going to call my husband. If I call my husband and ask, he's going to be like, just cook it the day of. And you know what? That's really not that hard to do because it's already prepped, ready to go. I might do that. I don't know. I haven't decided, but I am doing this. I am doing as much prep work as I can. Okay, so I am going to dump this milk and the cream of chicken, in this case, not cream of celery, the cream of chicken into this 13 by 9. And then mix it up really well. And then actually you're also going to want to mix in some fried onions at this time. This says 2/3 cup. I know you add it additionally afterwards while it's cooking. This says 2/3 cup. This is a 2/3 measuring cup. And I'm doubling it. So I'm also at this time going to be folding in 2/3 cup of fried onions. If I can get them out. Oh my gosh, they're so packed in here, but I really don't, they always go bad in the bag. I feel like the bags never seal enough, so that's why I like, oh no, they're frozen. They're frozen green beans, so like they're sticking together because I added cold milk in. Oh, that's great. Okay, so we're just gonna mix this up, and I think for now, I think I am just gonna stick to what I always do and cook it the day of. I don't want to get too far ahead, but when I do my pies, I honestly usually do them the day of. And because the only thing I usually have to do is make up my pumpkin pie mixture, because obviously I don't have that canned ready to go. I do have my blueberry pie filling, so that's super easy. Roll out some pie doughs and assemble it. I don't know. Usually while we're eating Thanksgiving dinner is when I pop my pies in the oven. So it's nice and warm and fresh right out of the oven. I don't know, guys. I'm trying new things. I'm trying things that I don't usually do this year just to kind of make life a little simpler. I don't want it super simple. I mean, I'm okay being in the kitchen on Thanksgiving Day, especially with all the snow we're getting tomorrow. We're going to be inside anyway. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but this is mixed and assembled, so I am going to just mark this with foil. I have so many permanent markers in this house, and I cannot find even one of them right now. I don't even know where they are. I have no clue. Hang on. Okay, the permanent markers are downstairs in the homeschool room. I usually keep them up here, but they're gone. So I wrote with my chalk pen 350 degrees for 25 minutes. And then I measured out, because I doubled this, I did a 2/3 cup and a 2/3 cup of the French fried onions. After you cook it, you put those on top, put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes. So this is done, and I'm going to get that in the fridge. Okay, I have about 10 more minutes till my Italian bread is out of the oven, and 1 more minute till the sweet potatoes are out of the oven. So I'm going to pull the sweet potatoes out when they are done, and for now I'm going to get this mess cleaned up. Well, I have a few minutes to get this popped in the garage fridge and just kind of tidy up the area, unload the dishwasher, reload, swap a load of laundry, and just get done a few things in the meantime during the next 10 minutes so we can move on to our next thing. All right, these 2 beautiful loaves of bread are out of the oven. I'm going to pop them on a cooling rack. These potatoes are also done now. As you can see, you can easily oh my gosh. You can easily pierce them with a fork. So I'm going to let these sit for a while because they just came out of the oven. So we're going to let these cool for quite a while before we handle these. And these, like I said, are about to go on a cooling rack. Okay, you guys, I have caved. I'm like, you know what? I am going to do the pies ahead of time. I personally like my pumpkin pie cold anyway. And I'm doing a blueberry pie, so I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? The only thing I like really warm, fresh out of the oven is apple pie. So I'm just going to go ahead and prep the pies because the bread is just about cool enough to the touch where I can start throwing it in the dehydrator, and I'll take you guys along for that. I still have yet to get my tripod. I need to go get it. Every time I look at my camera, I'm like, yep, I need to go get it. So what I'm going to do now is just roll out these pie crusts. And they really could have sat in the fridge a little bit longer. but yeah, they're not as chilled as I would like them to be, but that's okay. We can work around it. So I'm going to get this pie crust rolled out. I'm going to do my blueberry first. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I had to flour the rolling pin, and then my son wanted to show me his other log house. So what I'm going to do is just trim away a little bit of the excess. You can use a knife. I personally find just using a pizza roller works just fine. I need to get a new apron too. I had something spill on me. So anyway, I do want a little bit of overhang with this because this is going to be my blueberry pie, just because it's already jarred up ready to go. And I'm going to do the lattice top to it. So you do want some overhang. I try to do about an inch of overhang, but right here it kind of separated a little bit. So we'll see what we have to work with. So I'm going to take that off. Put the little dough scraps over here. And we're going to, I should have floured my counter a little bit more. Like I said, it's a really buttery crust. So if you don't let it set and chill long enough in the fridge, that's going to happen. But I'm at a standstill of what I can actually make right this second. Waiting for those sweet potatoes to cool in this bread. So I'm like, I can get this pie crust going. So that is what I'm doing. And the temperature is going to be 425 degrees. Hold on, this is not pulling up high enough. There we go, 425 degrees. I think for about 25 minutes. I'm going to check to be exact. I kind of can my own blueberry pie filling. I go based off the one on the Amish cookbook. But I think it's generally about 20 to 25 minutes for the pie. I gotta double check, like I said, but I know it's 425 degrees. So when I have my dough ready to go, I had a little tear right there, so I'm just trying to reinforce it. I'm gonna go grab my blueberry pie filling. Okay, yep, had to double check. So we'll be going in for, oh, did I grab the wrong thing? Okay, I grabbed the wrong thing. Anyway, it will be going in the oven, 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. You can cover your pie crust edge if you'd like. I personally don't. So I'm going to dump all my filling in. There we go. And then I kind of spread it out a little bit. It smells so good. I don't know if I did a video on this either. I know I did. I don't even know if I did my cherry pie filling. I'm going to have to do a can with me video. After the holidays, I really like to do a restock my pantry with these type of items that get used up during the holidays. And I'll have to take you guys along for that. So I'm just going to lightly flour the counter and do the same thing and get this pie crust rolled out. Actually, if I was smart, would have put these back in the fridge so they don't get too warm. That butter really can make it a sticky mess when you're rolling out your dough. So I'm going to get this top spread out for the lattice. What are some of your favorite pies that you guys like to make for Thanksgiving? I have heard such a variety. There was a lady I spoke to last night who was ringing me out at Safeway, and she was saying they're trying something new for Thanksgiving, and like every year they're making a different meal. Like one year's Italian, one's Mexican, one's, a baked ham instead of turkey. But then she was talking about all the different desserts that they're doing, and I'm like, oh my goodness. They're just, they're desserts that, of course aren't really traditional the way we think of like doing pies for Thanksgiving, but I'm curious, what are some of you guys' favorites? We usually do pumpkin and apple. Last year we did pumpkin and cherry, but this year we're doing pumpkin and blueberry. Okay, so I wanted to try and move you guys a little bit closer. So I'm going to do my lattice for the pie. And I don't really measure. I'm not a perfectionist with it, but I don't know, 1/2 inch. I'd say strips is what I usually tend to do. I really need to go get another apron. Anyway, I'm making a mess here. I am going to lay out my lattice. And just kind of stage this is the way I do it. I know everybody does it differently. Let's see, and we'll use a smaller one for this edge piece. And then what I'm going to do is take, this one's falling apart on me. Hold on a second. I'm going to just pinch it right back together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just lift them as I place this. I have found is the easiest way to do this. Once again, not a perfectionist, but I don't want my strips falling apart. I don't know what my dog is growling at. I keep going to check. She's growling at something outside. Okay, so we're going to lift this one and just do the same thing. And kind of just lift that one back up. And just keep going until you are done. And then what I like to do, you don't have to, I like to do a little bit of like an egg white wash for this, an egg wash, and kind of give it a little bit of a shine. And then I sprinkle on a little bit of like a coarser sugar, just a little bit, not a lot, because it is already a fruit pie and is sweet. See if I can fit one more piece of lattice. It is, you know, already sweet, but just like, I think it looks really nice and it makes a nice finishing touch. Just a little bit. So this is really hard with nails, trying to not ruin your dough and make marks all over it. And then I'm just going to slip this little one over here on this side, just because it's extra. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to get my scissors and I'm just going to cut the overhang on it, on the pieces that need it. You want enough where you can tuck your crust for your edge, and then once again, really hard with nails on. I'm actually thinking about just getting them taken off because they are really inconvenient. That is something I like to do for myself, for my me time once a month, but they're starting to really annoy me, to be honest. What, honey? It's getting dark out. Yeah, it is it's 10 after 4 right now. So anyway, you can leave the overhang if you like. You can just incorporate it into your crust, like right here. I kind of made an uh-oh and cut the edge of the crust. But I'm just going to take a little piece of scrap from the pile and just add to it. So that's what I do with my scrap pieces, is just add where it's kind of lacking, like right here. But if you want to be like a perfectionist with this, at any point that your pie crust gets soft, stick it back in the fridge. Stick the whole thing in the fridge if you want. I personally don't care. It's just for our family. We're not hosting anybody this year, and I just really want to get this done. So I'm not being a perfectionist this year, but that is a little trick if you're working with your dough and it's just getting too sticky and too soft on you. You can definitely pop it in the fridge at any given point till it kind of firms back up and is easier to work with. But like I said, this anyway is a really buttery crust, so it's very pliable, even, you know, after a little bit at room temperature. So I like this. It's a very forgiving crust. So I'm going to roll this up. I'm going to try and crimp the edges as best as I can with my nails on, which it looks really pathetic, the after the final look of it, but that's okay. So I'm just tightening, kind of pressing in the seams, making it a little bit more evident that there's there we go, hold on. Make it a little more evident that there's not an obvious seam there. Kind of just press it in, and then when I get it to where I want it to be, which I am totally fine with how that looks, I usually would use my finger and push it in, but with my nails, it like presses through the dough. I thought they were calling me. They're calling their sister. Anyway, that's how I usually do it, is just like that. But if you have nails on also, you can just use like your knuckle and kind of the knuckle of your other fingers and just, you know, make it work. So that is how I crimp it. Just press against both sides like this. And then, like I said, I don't know if I finished my thought. Sorry. And I am getting blueberry filling on my pie crust. I don't know if I finished my thought, but I do like to do an egg wash and sprinkle a little bit of coarse sugar on it. So that is what I am going to get next. And I will bring you back when I am done. So I have my egg wash. I'm done this. And I added a little bit of water, just some water and an egg white. And I'm actually going to, where is it? No, maybe it's not in there. Like I said, I have a little bit coarser sugar. No, we're not putting salt on the pie. I use the sugar in the raw usually because it's bigger pieces of that crystallized sugar, but I don't have that. I just have pure organic cane sugar right here. So what I'm going to do is lightly brush this egg wash onto the dough. It's okay if it gets on the pie filling a little bit, but just kind of brushing it down and moistening the dough so the sugar crystals will stick to it. You don't have to do this. You don't even have to use an egg wash. I personally like to. I think it gives it a nice shine to your pie. I like that. But you can just stop at this. You don't have to add more sugar onto it. Like I said, it's a fruit pie. It's already plenty sweet enough. This is just kind of more for appearance rather than taste or sugar count. And we are about done. I think all the areas were covered. All right, there we go. All right, so now that I got that evenly spread on, I'm just going to pinch a little bit with clean hands and just sprinkle a little bit on. So that's all I'm doing. And I really mainly focus on the lattice area. I don't really do like the actual crust on the side, just for a little bit of shininess to it. It looks pretty when it comes out of the oven. And I'm not taking big pinches because I don't want big clumps of sugar on the pie. So I'm just taking tiny little bits at a time, sprinkling it on. And like I said, 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Usually halfway in between works for me at about 22 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven. Also, what I'll do is I'm going to do a blueberry pie filling can with me video. And what I'll do is link it in the description once that's out in this video. So anybody who sees this, you know, a year from now or whenever can have the recipe and the directions for how to can your own blueberry pie filling. Super convenient for things like this. But now I need to make my pumpkin pie filling, so I'm going to pop this in the oven. Okay, so before I even start the pumpkin pie filling, I think what I'm going to do just to get the dehydrator going and get this whole process going is I am going to start getting my Italian bread cut into bite-sized pieces. So what you generally need for the stuffing recipe that I use every single year, it is delicious, so many compliments on it, is you are going to need about 2 loaves of Italian bread, each of them weighing about 10 ounces. So this is where like homemade can kind of vary from, you know, what's at the store. Some breads are more dense, more denser than others. My bread knife is actually in the dishwasher from kids' lunches today. So I'm going to have to use this for now. And let's see, let's get about 20 ounces. So this whole 1 loaf. So what I'm going to do, this whole loaf weighs about 2.5 pounds. So what I'm going to do is just cut these into bite-sized pieces. And I'm actually wondering if I should use my oven to just dry these out. I'm not sure. You can use your oven. You can preheat your oven. Okay. I had a timer going off. You can preheat your oven if you want to 400 degrees and set your bread pieces in the oven for about 10 minutes. I personally like to use my dehydrator, and both of my ovens are actually going at the moment. So we're coming up close to dinner time. It is 4:30 right now. So I'm just trying to get done as much as I can right now. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to cut these into close to bite-sized chunks, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. Okay, so I just staged that whole loaf of bread, and it is nice and full. That is what I'm looking for. So I did use that whole loaf of bread, but if you were buying it from the store, you would want roughly two 10-ounce loaves of bread. So now I'm going to take these pieces and get them in my dehydrator. Okay, well, this is a bad day. I just broke my dehydrator lid, which really sucks. I was trying to pull the trays out, and it fell off my counter, and it broke. So I'm going to have to try and find a replacement, but I obviously cannot dehydrate now because there's a gap. So that sucks. But I'm going to have to preheat my oven to 400 degrees and put the bread in the oven for roughly 10 minutes. Okay, I have all the bread laid out. So it might not be to the crispness I like to get out of the dehydrator, but we'll make it work nonetheless. This pie is done. This is the blueberry pie, so I'm going to set it here on a cooling rack to go ahead and cool. And I think while the bread is in the oven for the stuffing, I am going to go ahead and get into the sweet potatoes to put together the sweet potato casserole. Okay, I didn't realize my light died on my tripod thing here. So what I'm going to do is, now that these are cool enough to the touch to peel and handle, I'm going to get our 4 cups of chopped cubed sweet potatoes ready. And like I said, you can put these in water and boil them on the stovetop and just already have them measured out, which is easy too. But this is much more flavorful, I think, roasting the sweet potatoes, and it just adds a delicious flavor that I don't think you get when you boil your sweet potatoes. So the house smells so good. Next, I have to do this blueberry pie filling, but it might be stuffing or blueberry pie filling. No, we did that pumpkin pie filling. But I think maybe we'll do stuffing after this. So let's get the sweet potato casserole going, and I am going to cube. See, it's just as easy. I'm going to cube up 4 cups of sweet potatoes. All right, this bowl is wet, but I did wash it. So there's 1. And I'll just bring you back when I'm done. I think that'll be easier. Okay, so that actually did it. I only ended up using 3 sweet potatoes. So I have 2 left that are already cooked. I might snack on that in a little bit. I'm going to wash up my hands, but we have our 4 cups of cubed sweet potato. Okay, and to this, I had to soften some butter because I do not have a stick out. So I softened 4 tablespoons of butter. This is a really sweet potato casserole. Hold on 1 second. That's probably my husband calling the house phone. Nope, it wasn't. Okay, anyway. So I got my 4 tablespoons of softened butter. It is sweet, tastes like a dessert almost. I had a 1/2 cup of milk. I have 1/2 cup of sugar. And then I also have 2 large eggs. And then I'm going to add to this 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, which I need to get some of my other bottles that I made recently off the shelf. Hold on 1 second. There's my 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm going to get a hand mixer and mix this together, but this is an absolute delicious side. I'm going to now blend this together, so it's just like a kind of smooth consistency. Like I said, I don't do the traditional way, or I shouldn't say traditional because everyone does something different, but where you usually see the marshmallows and all that on top. This is the way that we like it, and I do like a pecan style topping, I added 5 minutes to the stuffing bread, and that is it. It's not as dried out as I'd like it to be, but I'll probably just leave it to sit out on the counter and it'll dry out the rest of the way. And I need to get that actually in a second. So I'm just going to blend it just a little bit. There's still going to be chunks in it. But I kind of just go until it's a little bit smooth, like that. All right, let me get that stuffing bread out. And here it is. It's a golden color. I added an extra 5 minutes just because, oh, my timer. I shut my timer off. But as you can see here, you can drop it. And there's a little bit of crunch to it. So I'm gonna let it sit out for a while I assemble this, and then probably my pumpkin pie filling, and then we'll get into the stuffing. But the dehydrator, it works great. I love doing that with my stuffing bread, but it'll work. So what I'm going to do is call that good. There's no large chunks, and that's usually what I try to smooth out. And then you're gonna get a 13 by 9. You do not have to butter the dish. You can just plop this right on in there and spread it out. Oh, my vacuum's talking. I have a robot vacuum, one of the little circle ones I have not used in like over a year, that I'm like, oh, I should probably use this. It'd probably help in my life. But no, I don't know. It's stuck on something somewhere. So I need to go see why it's talking to me. But I was like, I clean my floors multiple times a day. We have a lot of dogs. We have a lot of cats. We got a lot of kids. So I do like to keep up with the floors. And yeah, it was just getting to be too much sopping and vacuuming and sweeping multiple times a day. So I'm like, we're going to use this because we have it anyway. So, all right, now that is spread out, we are going to make the topping. I'm going to clear some of these dishes that have been accumulating, and we're going to move on. So to make this topping, I'm going to put in 1/3 cup of flour. You can double this if you'd like. I do some years, and some years I don't. This year I don't think I'm going to. But 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Add 3 tablespoons of softened butter. And then I am going to do 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So we're going to measure this out. So 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar, which I'm getting a little low. I need to make some more. And I still did not get to my vacuum, as you can tell. So I'm going to go ahead and get the pecans and get them chopped up. I am going to just get my pastry blender and blend the flour, the butter, and the brown sugar together. And you just want to cut in the butter with the pastry cutter until it's coarse. And my butter was not softened. It was really hard, so I think I microwaved it a little bit too long. But that's okay. All right. I'm now going to chop up these pecans, say it both ways. I always say pecans. I've actually looked it up. It can really go both ways. But I've heard like famous chefs say pecans too. So I'm like, okay, it's not just me. I'll like order, Ziggy's has like these pecan lattes, butter pecan. And I'll say it in the drive-thru and they're like, okay, so 1 large butter pecan latte. Like they have to correct me. It's so funny, but yep. Anyway, so I'm going to get these chopped up. I think I'm probably close to 1/2 cup. This isn't 1/2 cup. This is 1/2 cup. And these are just going to get mixed into the topping. If you want to, no, I'm nowhere near 1/2 cup. So I'm going to keep chopping these. I actually sprinkle them on top. You can mix it into the mixture and just sprinkle it on at once. I like to just evenly distribute the nuts on it. I'm probably going to need a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, so I'm actually going to flour my hands a little bit because this is really moist because I kind of melted the butter a little too much. So use slightly softened butter. Don't melt it like I did. But I'm just going to sprinkle it on. So it should be a nice coarse mixture, crumbly mixture. Mine's crumbly. It's just kind of sticking together a little bit. I'm going to spread that out. And then we'll come in and sprinkle the nuts on top. Now you can split it in half. I have one kid who does not like nuts. Usually I'll do half and half, but we can just pick them off of his. It's not a big deal. So they'll go through their little stages of what they like and don't like. And all my kids who didn't like nuts before all love them now. So anyway, but you can do that if you have somebody who does not like nuts. Just going to sprinkle these on top. And then we'll get the foil and we'll put the oven temperature, and I'm going to wash my hands, of course. We'll put the oven temperature, it's dropping again. We'll put the oven temperature and the time to bake it on the foil. All right, my kids are now coming inside, so it's probably going to be loud for a minute. They were actually outside that whole time, and it's like dark out, which is a no-no here because we got a lot of wildlife, and there's still bears out and about. So anyway, I'm going to mark this. So once again, I got my chalk pen. I found a darker one. So 325 degrees for about 30 minutes. And I already know, but I'm going to put it as uncovered. Because some things are covered, some things are uncovered. But 30 minutes uncovered. There we go. We're going to get this popped in the fridge. Okay, kids are in. Kids are getting bathed. I'm actually getting a really bad headache right now. It is 5:53. So we just came from outside. We went and gave the goats some more grass because they were low. It is dark. We just found out we might have 2 additional people come and have Thanksgiving with us. 2 of the guys my husband works with do not have plans, and we're actually wanting to work tomorrow because they don't have plans. So we know one of them, excuse me, one of them is coming for sure, and the other one may be coming as well. I'll let my husband know later, which means I've already made my sides, and it's too late to kind of go back and triple, so I'm going to make probably an additional side dish. We'll do baked mac and cheese. Hoping my headache goes away. I just took some medicine. Took 10 minutes to just sit on the couch with my little boys because I haven't got to spend much time with the kids today. They were outside playing anyway. So I'm going to get these pie crusts out, and then we will assemble the stuffing. Mike is getting pizza from in town. Thank God, because I'm not cooking tonight. I got all kinds of other things going on, so he's going to get pizza. I'm sure this is like one of those evenings where that's like the best seller is pizza. And quick and easy dinners, usually we do like something more snacky type for dinner, appetizers type stuff. But tonight that's going to be a blessing. So he already ordered pizzas from in town. And yep, let's continue and push through and get this done. Okay, we are going to get this pumpkin pie filling made up. So what I am going to do is I am going to get this pumpkin puree for simplicity right now. I'm just using what I have canned because it is close to date. I know everything can go past the Best By date. Most things canned, I know that. But I do like to use it, and this is November 2023, and we're in November 2023. So I'd like to restock my pantry shelves with something a little bit further out in date. But yes, I do know this could go like a year or more past date. I've had so many people make comments like when they see my dates on things. I'm like, yes, I know it can go later. but I don't like to have stuff, you know, unnecessarily sitting on the shelf close to date if possible. So right there I had 2 cans of 2 15-ounce cans of pumpkin pie puree. And now what I'm going to do is take 2 cans, 2 14-ounce cans of sweetened condensed milk. And I'm also going to add that into this pumpkin pie puree mix. And scrape that off. So we have 1. Try and scrape that all out here. I hope I'm at a good angle. Trying to play around with this tripod now. So there's 1, and then there's 2. Get that all scraped out. And then what we're going to do is add in, I'm going to add in our seasonings. So what I have here is nutmeg, and because I'm doubling this, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Just going to sprinkle that in. And then we're also going to use 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. 1 teaspoon ground ginger. We're also going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt. And then 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. There's 1, 2, and then I'm going to set these off to the side, and I'm trying to find, let's see, I can use this. I feed my eggshells back to my chickens, so I'm just going to pop them in this little container I already dirtied. So at this time, we're going to add 4 large eggs. That might not be big enough. Nope, it's not. All right, so 4 large eggs. I'm going to go wash my hands real quick. So I'm just going to whisk this until it's smooth. And then I have this sitting at room temperature while I'm doing this filling, so it's soft enough to work with, because we did put it back in the fridge. And then, I don't want to lose my seasonings here. And then I need to dig out my pie dishes and make sure I have enough pie plates, which I think I do. I keep a good amount on hand for reasons like this. Large family cooking and guests hosting. I think that blueberry pie is probably, I never did put an apron back on. I'm looking like, oh yeah, I got flour all over me. That blueberry pie probably is cool enough to go ahead and cover. So, no, actually it's still pretty warm. So, all right, this is smooth enough. So I am going to dig out some pie dishes, wipe my counter down yet again, and get these pie crusts rolled out. Okay, so a lot of crazy going on in the background. Sorry, guys. It is going to be a later day. I am going to be up, and I might just put off some stuff till later this evening, so I have less interruptions. Yes, Daddy's bringing home pizza, okay? So it's only 6, well, it's 10 after 6 now. So I did find an extra pie plate. And then I have this, which is a deep dish pie plate. It'll work. I was hoping to have a regular size one, but that's all I have to work with right now. So I got my rolling pin. I'm going to lightly flour my surface. Okay, for the sake of time, I just rolled out the pie dough. And I'm like looking at my camera. I know I have some editing to do, but I'm already close to an hour in, and I still have to brine the turkey. I have to do stuffing, and I need to do a baked mac and cheese casserole. Or baked mac and cheese. Why am I calling it a casserole? I don't know. But anyway, there's a lot of commotion going on. Mike is on his way home with pizza. You'll bake the pies at 425 degrees for 15 minutes, and then you'll lower the temperature to 350 degrees for another 35 to 40 minutes for that. So I'm going to mix this all up since I'm dividing it to kind of make sure everything's evenly distributed. in here, and we might have another guest. This is the bad thing about prepping too far in advance. If you have, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I would have tripled everything had I known this, not doubled. But it's okay. That just means I'll just make some, and I'm talking and I'm not counting how many scoops I'm putting into each. I should have been, oh well, because this is a deeper pie dish and I want to make sure I have the same amount. I'm yakking too much, but anyway, whatever. It is what it is at this point. Anyway, yeah, I would have tripled stuff, but that's okay. I can make some additional sides, and at least I know to make a ton more mashed potatoes. I will definitely be doubling that. I don't know where I'm at. I should have been counting. And I can go back, but that's too much work to go back and stop my video and then have it in an increment. We'll just call that good. How about that? It's whatever. Anyway, so once again, this is going to go into a 425 degree oven for 15 minutes and then 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes more. I think that's good, right? They both look nice and full. And good thing I'm making this part all in advance. That'll be a blessing. I might even do the dinner rolls to have those done, even though I like those fresh and warm and buttery right out of the oven. Yeah, this might just be a get done what you can get done. So I'm going to pop these in the oven real quick. Unfortunately now it is 10:38. My camera battery died. I thought I had it plugged in. It was not plugged in. All that to say, it is late and I am losing steam. So I need to get going. This next step I'm going to be doing for the stuffing. You are going to need 4 shallots that you're going to mince up. You're going to need 2 garlic cloves. You're going to also need 3 large eggs. You'll need half a cup of dry white wine. I change it up every year, but generally this is totally fine. That's what I saw at Safeway. And then you're also going to need 4 tablespoons of room temperature salted butter. You're going to need salt and pepper, and then you're also going to need chopped parsley. Half a cup of chopped parsley leaves, which I probably went a little overboard, but that's okay. And then you'll also need 2 cans of chicken broth. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to chop this up and measure out half a cup of chopped parsley leaves, and then I'll take you step by step through it, and I'll mention the measurements as I go, but that is what you will need to make your stuffing. Okay, so I chopped everything up. Everything's ready to go. I have my saucepan on medium-high heat, and I am going to add in the 4 tablespoons of salted butter. Now that the butter is pretty much melted, I am going to add to this 4 celery stalks that I sliced very thin. I'm also going to add the 4 minced shallots and my 2 garlic cloves that I minced up. And my nose does sound a little stuffy. These shallots to mince up were so bad. They were worse than any onion I have cut. They usually are when I make this every Thanksgiving, but my eyes are burning pretty bad. So that's why I sound a little bit stuffed up. The waterworks were definitely on. So I am going to let this cook on medium heat for... Nope, I got a little peel in there, I think. Nope, I just didn't cut it good enough. Okay. I'm going to let this cook for roughly about 7 to 8 minutes, stirring occasionally. So I'll bring you back when 8 minutes is up. Just kidding. I forgot to add salt and pepper. You also want to add some salt and pepper at this time. I just do a generous amount of each. I've made this for so many years, over a decade. So I don't measure. I just go with it. You guys do what you want. I don't even know like a number to start with. Maybe half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 to half teaspoon of pepper. I don't know. I just eyeball that part. But you do what you want. I'm going to go ahead and let this continue cooking. We got 7 minutes to go. Okay, these have softened. I am now going to add the white dry wine, and I am going to be adding half a cup and then cooking that for about 3 to 5 minutes until it starts to evaporate. This smells so delicious. So good. Oh my goodness. Once you add that wine, it's just, oh, it smells so good. So I'm actually going to set my timer for 4 minutes and check it at 4 minutes, and I'll bring you back when we're at that point. Okay, it has been close enough to 4 minutes, and this white wine is pretty much evaporated. The smell, oh my gosh, this smells so good. And it's not even cooking yet. It's not even in the oven. So I am going to go ahead and cut the heat. I'm going to shut the timer because I only have 10 seconds left. And we are going to transfer this to a large bowl. Okay, in this large bowl, I already have half a cup of chopped parsley. And I did let the vegetables cool for a little bit because I do need to add 3 eggs into this, and I don't really want them scrambled or cooking in this. This mixture is very hot, so I'm just scooping as much of the vegetables out as I can. And then I am going to go ahead and crack my eggs into this next. All right, I got my 3 large eggs. This one's actually kind of on the small side. I have some new layers. All right, there's our 3 eggs. To this mix, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of black ground pepper. So yes, I did add salt and pepper when I was sauteing the vegetables, but you're going to add this additionally. If you'd like, I suppose it could be optional, but it might change the flavor. And then I'm gonna use the 1/4 teaspoon because I already used it. And to this, I'm going to add a teaspoon and a half of salt. So there's 1 teaspoon and there's a half. So 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I am just going to mix this together. And then once you have this incorporated and mixed in well, it is a very big bowl, you guys. This is like the largest bowl I own when I batch cook or batch bake recipes. And now I'm going to go ahead and get those pieces of bread. And they are nice and hard and crisp and dried. So now, obviously, this isn't enough liquid. This is where the chicken broth comes into play, where you need 2 14-ounce cans of chicken broth. I don't have that right now. I have my carton from Azure Standard of the organic chicken broth, and it is a 32-ounce. So I know I'm going to use up close to all of it, but you want to pour in a little at a time. Usually when I do the cans, I'll add 1 can, usually 1.5 cans, and then I go from there. You just want this, you want to add the liquid until it's moistened. That's what you want to do. So you're going to stir it in and try and coat all the pieces of bread. And the goal here is you don't want liquid sitting on the bottom. So you definitely want to incorporate this really well, mix it around each time. The pieces of bread are really dry, but this is where it soaks up the liquid. And then I'm going to pour in a little more because I know I'm going to probably only have like that much left by the time I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. And basically it's, I think I've always used exactly 2 cans, but like I said, this is a 32-ounce carton, so I know it's not going to take all of it. And actually, I think that might be good. There's a little bit left in there, but I'm not even going to measure. You just want it all moistened, so make sure there's no dry pieces and no liquid on the bottom. And by liquid, I mean like sitting chicken broth. You don't want it soaking wet. Your mixture, like you don't want an excessive amount of liquid left. And this is a big bowl, so it's a little bit harder, but I think we're there, you guys. Everything's moistened. Maybe just a dash more. Everything's moistened. We're good. So I'm going to call that good. And I am going to go ahead and get out my 13 by 9. Now you can use this mixture to stuff your turkey with. If you are going that route, just before you roast your turkey, you will stuff it with about 4 cups of stuffing. And then any stuffing that's remaining, you'll spoon it into a buttered 8-inch baking dish. And then, yeah, that's what you would do if you were stuffing your turkey. I am not. I don't do my stuffing that way. So I am going to actually butter a 13 by 9 baking dish. And I'm going to get that right now. I am just going to butter it with some butter that I had sitting out. There we go. And then I'm just going to get a paper towel because that is what's next to me and just spread it out the rest of the way. So you have your buttered 13 by 9 baking dish. If you are not stuffing your turkey with this. So, I am now going to go ahead and dump this mixture out. I feel it's definitely been mixed up very well. And get it all spread out in this dish as best as I can. I am going to press down on it so I can cover it nicely with foil. And again, I'll be writing the directions on this for popping it in the oven tomorrow, just because I feel that saves a lot of time knowing instead of having to look it up each time I put something in the oven. So I'm just trying to get all those last bit of vegetables. I do want them all in this recipe, and like I said, this is a very big bowl, so I am just scraping out all the vegetables to make sure they're all in this dish. There we go. It's a big bowl, you guys. And then that is it, and I am going to get a piece of foil, and I'm also going to be buttering that foil because you are going to cook this in the oven covered. So I'm going to press it down, kind of even it out a little bit. Now I got a big clump of seasoned vegetables right there. Okay, there we go. So that is spread out. Beautiful, smells so good, and it is so delicious, our favorite. Okay, so I got my buttered piece of foil. I'm going to pop this on, and I'm going to write on it. I just wrote it on this because I didn't want to write with marker and then pop the same foil in the oven. So I got a little sticky note. You're going to bake this, if you do it this way, at 350 degrees. You're going to cook it covered for about 25 to 30 minutes and then uncovered for about 15 minutes. Okay, you guys, it is such a crazy late hour. It's ridiculous. It's after 1 in the morning. My turkey was still somewhat frozen, so I've had it sitting in the sink with cold water this whole time. It is late. I am so tired, but I've made use of time. I've done the dishes. I've swapped some laundry, and I am now going to get this cooked up. So this is going to be the brine for the turkey, and I do the same brine every year because I absolutely love it. I wanted to start it a little sooner than right now. But anyway, you will need 1 gallon of vegetable stock. And that's what I have. I have 4 cartons here. They are each about 32 ounces. And I'm going to dump these in. Sorry for the close-up. I still have not switched my tripod. So, and my trash is full. I need to take that out. Okay, that's just a little bit better, and I have not had time to put an apron on either, so, oh, it never fails, and I started early today, this year, prepping Thanksgiving, but that's okay, it's okay, so, and it's actually cold enough out because you're not going to want to put the turkey in until the brine is, like, cool. I'm just going to put this outside with a lid on it when I'm done because it's cold. it's cold and it'll speed up the process. But yeah, I might be going to bed the same time I did last year, but I was able to at least edit a video because it's been quite a while since I got one out. Like 12 days because we've had so much going on. So anyway, I'm going to add, like I said, 1 gallon of vegetable stock. I also have half a cup of packed brown sugar. It's so packed it's not coming out. All right. And then you want to also add to this 1 cup of kosher salt. I'm a little bit short. I have a 3-gallon bucket somewhere in my pantry of kosher salt, but I don't even care. We're close enough. So I'm going to add that kosher salt. In this mix, I have 1.5 teaspoons of candied chopped ginger. Actually, I'll show you what that looks like. This is what it looks like in case you're curious and want to give it a try. You can find it in the spice aisle. That's what this is. So 1.5 teaspoons of the crystallized candied ginger. I also have 1 tablespoon of black peppercorns. And I have 1.5 teaspoons of allspice berries, as you can see in here. So that is all together. So you want this on medium-high heat, and you're just going to stir it and get that sugar to dissolve, and just continue to cook it on medium-high heat. I'm just going to stir and get that sugar off the bottom there. You're going to continue to cook it on medium-high heat, and you want to bring that to a boil. And then once you've brought it to a boil, you are going to, I'm trying to grab something over here. You are going to then take it off the heat and let it cool down. That's when I'm going to pop a lid on it and go pop it outside. You can also make this, and every year I forget, maybe next year I'll remember. You can also make this like a day ahead of time, even a day before Thanksgiving, and cook it, cool it down, and then pop it in your fridge, and just keep it in the refrigerator till it's time to start your brine. But yep, this is typical for me. So I don't surprise myself. It never fails. It always works out this way. So I don't know. Maybe I'll take notes and try not to lose them and remind myself next year. Do things a little bit more ahead of time, but that's okay. I do not mind this at all. That's totally fine. So anyway, I'm gonna let this come to a boil. Okay, at this point, this has pretty much come to a boil, or is starting to boil. I'm going to call it good. Everything is already dissolved in here. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and pull it from this burner and let it kind of cool down for a few minutes before I pop it outside. Okay, you guys, it is extremely late or early in the morning, whatever you want to look at it. This has cooled down the brine, and what I did was added 1 gallon of very heavily iced water. And I'm going to pop the lid on this and put this on the front porch, and I will see you guys in the morning. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is the next day. It's much later in the afternoon. We usually eat Thanksgiving dinner for dinner. I know a lot of people do it as a brunch or midday, 1 o'clock to 3-ish. We usually eat by 6:30, so I'm going to pull this turkey out of the brine. It's a little after 2, so a little later than I like to do this part, but yeah, that happens sometimes. So I'm going to take you guys along, and we're going to get this turkey out of the brine. I now emptied out a lot of the brine. I also wanted to mention about halfway through brining, however long you decide to flip your turkey upside down. I do that every year. I did not this year. I totally forgot to, but that's okay. And I'm going to place it in the sink. So I got a nice clean sink here. I'll deal with that bucket later. And we're just going to rinse the brine off the turkey inside and out. Let me adjust that just just a little bit. Go ahead and pat the turkey dry. Okay, and then after you dry it, you want to tuck your turkey wings in. So all you do is reach back and tuck it under the bottom side right there. Okay, for this part, we're going to do some aromatics for our turkey. So what I usually do is I just slice up an apple. And then I have over here about 4 sprigs of rosemary. I'm going to direct that a little bit different. There we go. 4 sprigs of rosemary. And I have about 6 sage leaves on this sprig. And I have a cinnamon stick. So I'm going to also take half of an onion. And I'm going to slice the onion. And just put my scraps over here. We're going to get that onion sliced right up. So this is just going to go inside the cavity of the turkey. If you are not doing stuffing, I don't ever do stuffing inside of my turkey. So this is all I'm going to be doing. So you're going to get 1 cup of water. Into the water, you're going to combine your onion slices. You're going to combine your apples, your cinnamon sticks, your sage, your rosemary. That's all going to go in here together. And you are going to microwave this on high for a total of 5 minutes. Okay, so the aromatics are done steeping in the microwave. And what I'm going to do is take this and we're going to pour it into the cavity of the turkey. Just like that. And get it all in there. It is piping hot, but that's okay. That's what we want. So now once you have that all inside of the turkey, you are then going to rub your turkey down with some oil. I use canola oil for this. Personally, that's what I do. And we're just going to rub the turkey down. This is how we make the turkey every year, and I absolutely would not do it any other way. And then once you lather it really well, this whole time I've had my oven preheating to 500 degrees. Yes, that is correct, 500 degrees. That is the way I have found it best to cook. So I put it in for 500 degrees for about 30 minutes. And I'll take you guys along the next step when that 30 minutes is up and show you what I do from there. But I do like the skin to get a nice golden color. And this way that I have done this for years has always produced a super moist, tender turkey. It does not dry out. It is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to put this in the oven, legs first, and I will bring you guys back in 30 minutes. Turkey is finishing up for the last 10 minutes in the oven. From the 30-second timer that we set. I am going to make my mashed potatoes. Now, we only have 1 extra person joining us, so I'm not going to double these and go too crazy. But I do have 4 pounds of just russet potatoes. You can use whatever. So I'm going to get these russet potatoes scrubbed up, and then I'll bring you back for the next step. I also did want to mention I did scrub my sink down. I scrubbed the whole entire countertop and sink, so everything has been cleaned very well and sanitized from when we did the turkey. So just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, now that I have my 4 pounds of potatoes washed up, I am just going to get these peeled, and I'm going to cube them up, and I will bring you back once I am done peeling all of these. Okay, I have just a few minutes until the turkey is done. It's first 30 minutes, so I'm just going to cube up these potatoes. And I just gave them a quick rinse. And I think the next thing we'll do, I'll show you the next step for the turkey. And then from there, we're pretty much golden. The only thing I really have to make is the dinner rolls. and I'm just going to go ahead and get those made up ahead of time. The sides are already made from yesterday, and like I said, I already have my cranberry sauce canned, ready to go. I'll actually probably put it in the fridge because we like the jellied cranberry sauce cold. And then the pies are already done, and we just need to cook the sides, which I do that when the turkey is resting. And then I'm going to also share with you how to make an amazing gravy. This is our favorite way of making our turkey. It was just so good last year that we actually repeated this dinner for Christmas. It was that good. We usually do like a ham, or I think one year we did prime rib, a prime rib roast, but we really enjoyed the turkey so much that we did that last year for Christmas. So I don't know what we're doing this year for Christmas, but this is a very delicious meal. It's very easy to make from scratch. Of course, I'm doing a video in real time, so it's all scrambled and not, coordinated. You're gonna have to watch the whole video for the directions and things. I'm trying to be thorough. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If there's something I missed upon the chaos of just cooking and juggling kids and other things while in between prepping. So I think I explained everything thoroughly. I hope I did. But other than that, yeah, that timer should be going off any minute. I'm going to fill this pot up with cold water, and I'm not going to turn it on yet. I'm just going to get it set on the stovetop so it's ready to go. All right. I'm just putting it on this so I can show you at a really good angle because it's just me working the camera right now. But look at this color. It gives it such a gorgeous color and doesn't dry it out. That's why I go legs first, because this darker meat, I'm sorry, I'm not like really looking at you guys because I'm trying to show you the main thing here, the turkey. The darker meat can take the heat, and it's not going to dry out, I promise. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I now changed my oven temperature to 350 degrees, okay? And now what we are going to put on is this little triangle. And this is going to protect the meat so it's not getting too dark. It's not going to dry out. I'm going to drop some canola oil on that, and I am just going to rub it on. That's part of the trick of putting the oil on too. It gives it that beautiful brown color for that first 30 minutes. And now we're going to cook it at 350 degrees. Oops, sorry about that interruption. We're getting animals in for the night. So I have canola oil rubbed on this turkey triangle, and I am just going to pop this onto here with the pointed end right here. And this is just going to do its magic while it's in the oven. At this time, you can also put your thermometer into your turkey if you have an oven-proof one. I actually don't use one. If this is, say, a 14 to 16 pound turkey, you're probably going to cross your 161 degree mark at maybe an hour and a half. So if this was a 14 to 16 pound turkey, I would set a timer for about an hour and a half. Or you can wait till your thermometer goes off if you have one of those fancy ones. I don't. So an hour and a half is when I usually check for the doneness of my turkey. But this, I think, is a 20-pound turkey. I think I have a 20-pound turkey this year. So I'm still going to set it at an hour and a half. But it may be up to 2 hours. So I'll take you guys along for that. I usually do like a 16-pound turkey, and about an hour and a half it's at the 161 mark. So this is going to go back into a 350 degree oven, and once again, an hour and a half, I'm going to check on it. And in case I didn't mention it, this is going to go back in legs first, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to do, sorry, I'm stuffing my face. We had a Kentucky bourbon ball in the fridge, and I'm like, I need a little pick-me-up to go with my coffee. I'm going to be making dinner rolls. Usually I do a 13 by 9, but because we do have somebody extra, just in case I didn't make enough, I'm going to do 2 trays of them just to make sure we have enough. So what I have here, since I'm doubling, is 2 cups of water. I have 1 cup of, hold on, did I measure that right? Yes. Okay, 2 cups of water, sorry about that, and 1 cup of milk, and then 4 tablespoons of salted butter. And I'm going to pop this in the microwave and get it warmed up. Okay, and while that is in the microwave warming up, I just pulled this out of the freezer. I'm going to add my active dry yeast. And because I'm doubling it, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons. Don't worry. I will put all the directions and ingredients. Hi, honey. Is it cold up? Downstairs. I'm going to put the ingredients downstairs, you guys. Oh, God help me. Okay, I'm going to put the ingredients down in the comments below for you guys. You'll just have to watch the video for the directions, obviously, because if I wrote everything out in the description, nobody would watch the video, probably. So anyway, the directions will be in the video. Hopefully they're not scattered too much. And yeah, so all the directions for regular amounts will be down below, and obviously double them if you need to, or whatever you need to do to adjust for you and your family. But this stuff's pretty much warmed up in the microwave. I'm going to pull it and we're going to add it in with the yeast. Okay, I'm just going to throw this in here. I know this is already going to be a ridiculously long video, but we're cooking all of Thanksgiving here and I'm taking you along very detailed. Now is also, oops, I told you, my tripod. It wasn't delivered. I thought it was. It wasn't. It was something else. So it's actually coming Monday. So I'm dealing with like it flopping over occasionally. So now is also a good time. This is actually too hot to add in, so I'm going to let this cool for a minute or two. Now's a good time. I have a pen and paper. It's a little scattered in here. I have a pen and paper here, and I just actually had my daughter grab it for me downstairs from the homeschool room. This is a great time where as you're using stuff, if you're getting to the end of something, to just write down like my large foil, my heavy duty foil, I am getting a little bit low on, and I just write a running list of what I'm using up, what we're going through, you know, oils, different things like my flour. This is my 5-gallon bucket. It's up to here right now, so it's getting really low. And then I take this list and I look where I keep my stuff stored. The mechanical room is all the foils, the sandwich bags, things like that. So I'll check down there. If I have enough, I'll cross it out. If I don't, I'll keep it on there as a list of what to replace, because you kind of go through a lot of things during the holidays and in the chaos of like moving stuff around. You know, you don't realize like, oh, oops, so we're out of that. And then come Christmas or something, you don't want to like go to use something and find out you don't have it. If you like to keep a well-stocked home, I do. I always try to replenish and cycle through everything. So I'm going to be writing out my list because there's quite a few things that I'm running low on. I know I have one more 25-pound bag of flour, but that's it. So I'm going to write that down for sure. But I am going to go ahead, and I think this is cool enough to add in. Excuse me. So I did have the yeast in the bottom. You can't really see it because it's really down there. So I'm going to dump that butter, that milk, and that water into the yeast. And then I'm also going to take my honey, and I'm going to be adding, once again, I'm doubling it. I'm going to be adding in 4 tablespoons of honey. Usually I would just spray whatever I'm using. That way the honey just comes all out. If you take like Pam spray or olive oil spray, you can spray like your spoon or measuring cup beforehand and it all just drips right off the spoon, but I actually am out of that. I gotta check my pantry for that. So anyway, 4 tablespoons of honey. I'm gonna have to scoop it off the measuring spoon here. And then I'm going to give that a whisk as soon as I get the majority of this out here. Oh, come on. Oh my goodness, there's a lot. Okay, there we go. That's good enough. I'm going to get my whisk and just kind of whisk that together and let that set for about 5 minutes. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add, I'm way off. It's flopped over again, guys. Bear with me here. The next thing I'm going to add is the flour. When I make just a regular 13 by 9 of the dinner rolls, I think it makes 15. I usually do up to 4 cups of flour, but you don't want to add it all at once. So since I'm doubling it, I would add up to 8 cups of flour, but I always start with 3.5. So I don't want to confuse you guys, but since I'm doubling it, that would be 7. So we're going to do 7 cups first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. And the reason that you always want to start with a little bit is it doesn't always take it. Sometimes it can be based off the temperature of your house, whether it's hot or cold, dry or humid, with how much flour you actually need for your recipe. So now that I have that added in, I am going to get our sea salt here, and I am going to add that in next. So since I'm doubling it, I am going to add in 2 teaspoons of sea salt. And I am going to get my dough hook. We're going to get that put on. So I know I can additionally add in up to 1 more cup of flour. You don't want to go over that amount, for a total of 8 cups if I need it. I'm going to put this on a level 2 and clean up my area. Okay, I was sitting here talking to you guys, and once again, didn't realize I did not record. Oh my gosh. I don't know what recorded and what didn't, but it was sticking to the sides of the bowl. I'll just go back and edit if I said this and it recorded, but I see that it wasn't recording. It was sticking to the edge of the bowl and just kind of spinning around. So I took my extra cup and I added half a cup more into the chute. And it seemed to be pulling away from the bowl pretty well. But if you actually look down here, I'm going to have to like new view myself. You look down here, it's still sticking on the bottom. So I'm going to add a little bit more, probably like a 1/4 cup. And we'll see what it takes. I do have a fire going, and it is, it's pretty cold out. Pretty cold. We have a storm coming through, a snowstorm, and I think they said we could potentially get like 14 inches of snow, so I don't know. It's really cold though, I know that much, but it is warming up in here with the fire, but it is still sticking. So you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and add that whole cup. So I did a total of 8 cups. My sheet is not working like it's supposed to be. It did at one time, but it's not right now. So anyway, yep, that did the trick. So it did take all 8 cups. Once again, if you're not doubling it, you would use up to 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to go ahead and let this knead for about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, and this pulled off the bowl beautifully. And now what we're going to do is I have a clean counter, besides a little bit of flour that just came off the bowl. And I'm going to dump this dough out. I'm also going to get some olive oil. I'm going to coat this bowl with a little bit of oil. And I'm just going to give this a quick knead. I mean, it did knead for 5 minutes, so it's not absolutely necessary, but I like to kind of give it a little extra bit of a knead before I shape it into a ball. And what you're going to do is get a dish towel, tea towel, flour towel, whatever you want to use, hand towel. I'm going to put it in the dough, or in the oil, flop the dough around a little bit, and get my towel. And I just dampen the towel. And you're going to set this in a warm area. My ovens are both running, so my kitchen's very warm, and I am just going to kind of get this wrapped up here. Warm damp towel, and set it aside for 15 minutes, 1-5, to do a brief rise. Okay, so this is this is kind of overrisen a little bit because I was a little occupied with something else. So normally this would make 15 dinner rolls, and right now I'm going to be doing 30 because I doubled it. So you can get, oh, where's my scale, girls? Hold on a sec. You can, sorry, I also had Christmas music on. I had to make sure it was low enough. So you can use a scale if you want to. Grab a couple pieces. I think it's usually like 1 point something for the weight, but I'm going to do about 30 dinner rolls here. I'm just going to grab dough, and I will let you know about how much each should weigh if you do decide to be more exact and weigh it with a scale. So I'll bring you right back. Okay, so they all weigh about 2.1 to 2.5 ounces. Now the problem is I used my glass 13 by 9s, which is usually what I bake these in. So I'm going to have to use some aluminum trays. Hopefully they turn out just the same. I usually you can fit 15 of them. I do 3 rows of 5, and you can fit 15 of them in a 13 by 9. So I need to see how I'm going to fit these in the aluminum trays, but I'm going to get these rolled up. This is all you're doing. I'm just grabbing sides and pinching together on the bottom, and then I come down here and kind of just shape it into a circle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but these are really delicious buttery rolls. We use these quite often, you know, when we do dinners like this or like a baked ham or something. This is the more simple dough dinner roll recipe. I do have one that's like a Texas Roadhouse style, which I know my daughter's like, oh, she loves those. And I do like the butter and everything with it. It's so delicious, but that's a little bit more tedious. So that is not a Thanksgiving type dinner roll. This is quick, delicious, and it works. I do the other one for really special occasions, but anyway, that's all you're going to do. You're going to pull the sides, and I'll do it slower because I didn't realize how fast I'm doing it. I'm just stretching it. That's all. Trying to just make sure it's got a nice smooth top, pinch seam on the bottom, roll it around. And yeah, what time is it? It is 4:40, so I think we're pretty good on time. I'm going to check the turkey. It's got another, I think, 40 minutes from the hour and a half. So like I said, we usually eat 6:30. I don't like, I like to do later dinners. Otherwise my kids will be hungry come dinner time. And yeah, I want to cook one big meal. So we eat really light throughout the day. I did end up doing French toast slices. I did not do our French toast casserole because it was like, I think I went to bed at like 4 in the morning. It was very, very ridiculously late. So I did sleep in a little bit. But I did end up just slicing that up. That makes such delicious French toast. So that's what we did. We did some French toast, some hickory smoked bacon. And yeah, that was about it. And I think we kind of just snacked here and there for lunch. Usually I do a nice board of like nuts and meats and things like that. But today's kind of been a little bit scattered of a day. So we didn't even get to do all of that. So I'm going to finish forming these and I'll bring you back when I am done. Okay, I did find this cake pan of mine, so I'm going to see if I can fit them in here, and this actually might work for doubling this. It's not the prettiest pan, so it's very well loved, but this is what I did my sheet cakes in for kids' birthday parties. Let's see. They might fit. And if they do, that would be great. But yeah, I usually use a glass 13 by 9. That's all I ever use. But this, I think I can make work. So, let's see. Okay, we're going to make this work. Hopefully they cook through just fine. So I'm going to put this tea towel over it and let it rise for an additional 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, these dinner rolls have raised for about 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in a 400-degree oven for 15 minutes. Okay, so dinner rolls are in the oven for 15 minutes. I just turned the potatoes on the stove to get the mashed potatoes going. The turkey I'm going to check in 18 minutes. It may need some additional time, but other than that, we're just going to keep things moving. Okay, so I love these big drink dispensers. I actually own 2 of them. And it has the diffuser option, or diffuser, where you can put fruit or whatever you want inside. So what I am going to do, I figured this would be a little bit festive. I usually do 1 lemon lime and today I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to throw some cranberries in mint leaves that I just washed up in the sink in here instead. Thank you, honey. So we got a bag of ice from our freezer to put in here to get the water cold. And that's what we're going to do, is just get this filled up to the top. So it looks really pretty. I like it. And I'm actually going to save a little bit and we'll give it to our chickens tomorrow because they love peppermint. Mint's actually really good for them, and cranberries are too. So that can be their little treat tomorrow. They're all in for the night, and it is snowing pretty heavy right now. So anyway, that is what it's going to look like. I'm going to add some water. Okay, we got our water added in. I am going to add some ice to this and get it nice and cold. Is this the only bag of ice we have?
Yeah.
Okay, then I need another thing of water. All right, I got a little bit more water to add in, and then we are going to pop these on. It's screwed on nice and tight, and we are good. So we have some cranberry mint water, and yeah, I'm gonna go get some cups set up. Okay, so the dinner rolls seem to cook just fine. They're good. They weren't overlapping too bad, so they're cooked through. I have some melted butter, and they just came out of the oven. I just want to make sure, yeah, they're not doughy at all. Now, generally, you do want to serve these warm. I always do, but for the sake of time, I just made these in advance, and I can keep them in the oven on a warm feature. I'm going to preheat the oven for the sides. I have about 3 minutes till the turkey is out of the oven to check the temperature. It is a bigger turkey, so I am anticipating adding more time to it. But for the meantime, this is done. Potatoes are going on the stove, and I'm going to start pulling the casseroles and the side dishes out of the fridge so the glass can kind of warm up a little bit so there's no shock going into a really hot oven. And yeah, so just butter these up. Beautiful, nice, glossy look. These smell so good, and the house smells so good. I just opened the oven door for the turkey. Oh, it smells incredible. We're ready. We're ready for some food. So look at these guys. Okay, I just checked the turkey. I'm going to give it roughly 20 more minutes, and I think it'll be done at that point. It was close, but just not quite. So like I said, we're pulling out the side dishes right now. I have the mashed potatoes going on the stovetop still, and just cleaning in between everything going on. Put in a load of laundry. Yeah, we're just waiting to get these sides heated up. So I have the oven already preheated. Dinner rolls are done. The desserts are done. Sides just need to get cooked. I'm probably going to wait. I'm going to let them, like I said, sit at room temperature for a little bit so the glass kind of warms up a little bit. Drinks are going. I was going to make some hot cocoa in the Instant Pot. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm not sure. It is 5:30 and we're supposed to have our guest here at 6. I probably have enough going on. I'll probably just put that off, but I thought that'd be nice with some pie, but we do have the little K-cups and the kids can just make individual hot cocos. Other than that, I think we're good. I think we're on time with everything. So I'm going to get these side dishes warmed up. I'm going to check a couple messages from you guys because I did post a video today, because it'd been like close to 2 weeks since I posted a video. We had company, we had hosting, we had pie night, we had sickness in the house, we had all kinds of things going on, and I just need to get my head on right. I did not have time to do editing for my other videos because those were all voiceovers that I didn't really have much of a voice, a lot of coughing, so I fell a little bit behind. But anyway, I'm going to check some messages in between shuffling this stuff in and out of the ovens. And yeah, I'll show you how to make those mashed potatoes and the gravy. And I think that's it, guys. I went over the times for the sides yesterday, so that's all I'm following is the times, the temperatures, and the timers that need to get set for that. So I'm going to show you how to do the gravy. and the mashed potatoes, and that'll be it, guys. We'll wrap up this video. Okay, mashed potatoes are done. So what we're going to do is add 2 sticks of unsalted butter to this. And I also have 1 1/4 cup of warmed milk. Now that these are blended together, I'm going to add 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, I'm now going to pop the lid on these so they stay warm. All right, so we got our turkey out. It is resting. It is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It smells delicious. And I am so ready to carve into that. Smells so good. But now we're left with this, and this is all the drippings from the turkey. And what we are going to do is turn this into a delicious gravy. Okay, so now for the gravy, we're going to place this pan over medium heat, and we are going to be adding our broth to it. So you are going to need 24 ounces of chicken broth, and you're also going to need half a cup. Let me get it. I'm sorry, not half a cup. You'll need 8 ounces of wine, preferably red wine, but I don't have red wine. I only have white wine. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken broth. And I'm also going to add in 8 ounces of white wine. But like I said, if you have red wine, that would be even better for this. But I think I do white wine every year and it's just fine. Once again, I'm just using what's left from the stuffing last night. At this time, you are just going to loosen up all the bits and pieces at the bottom of this with a whisk. And that is what I'm doing right now, just to loosen up all the pieces that help add to the flavoring. And you're going to continue to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for, we'll set a timer for 3 minutes and continue to cook this. Okay, it has been 3 minutes, so I'm going to shut my timer off. And at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to shut your burner off and you're going to want to drain this. Now would be a time to drain it into a gravy separator. I do not have a gravy separator, but I'm going to share with you what I do in this situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it through a sieve, and I have this set up. I'm going to have to dump it a few times, but this is just going to get the chunks and the pieces of the turkey separated, and I'll bring you back when I do that. Now, as you can see here, I drained it. So these are all the pieces that were at the bottom. I needed 2 hands, and I actually had so much that it, I've never had this much liquid, that it actually spilled out on the counter a little bit. But that's okay. I think there'll be enough flavor in this gravy and enough liquid. So what you're going to do, sorry, different angle, is let this sit for a minute. And actually I let it sit for about 5 minutes. And as you can see, all the fat is kind of coming right up to the top. So you could do 2 things at this point. You can get a ladle and scoop out as much as you can of that fat. If you have a lot of time and you're doing this early to prepare and you cook your turkey early, you can put this in the fridge once it cools to room temperature. In this whole area will solidify, and you can basically just take the whole entire chunk out all at once, and it'll get all the fat in one scoop. So, or you can use a turkey baster, and same thing like the ladle, just suction it off the top. I use a ladle for me personally, and it works great. Every year I say I'm going to get a gravy separator, and I have yet to actually do that. Okay, it has been 5 minutes, and I'm going to ladle out. You can do anywhere from 2/3 to a 3/4 cup of fat you're going to want to keep. So you can keep 2/3 cups of the fat, or you can keep 3/4 cup, and I'm going to get a 3/4 cup filled with fat, and the rest I will discard. So we're just going to, this is actually a 3/4 cup measuring cup that I have. So we're going to get our fat. And then, now that we have that fat set aside, I'm going to ladle out the rest of this and discard it. And just to show you closer up at a little bit of a better angle, all I do to get the fat off is I press very gently onto the surface. Now I'm almost done, but that's it. Just press down and it literally goes right into the ladle. Or like I said, you can use a turkey baser, whatever works best for you. Or you can just get a gravy separator and not waste the time doing this. But it doesn't take but a few minutes. So there we go, and I think I'm going to call that good. That is probably the majority of all the fat. There's just a teeny tiny bit left, but that is okay because we're going to add that into our gravy anyway. Okay, final steps. My heat right now is on a medium high, and what we're going to do is we are going to transfer this liquid, and we're going to put it in the roasting pan. That scared me. It popped. So we're going to go ahead and put the fat in that roasting pan, and we're going to add 1/3 cup of flour, and we're going to whisk that together. I had to find my whisk. So anyway, we're going to whisk this once again on medium high. And I was just checking something on my phone. I had a comment from somebody that I was trying to respond to in between doing all of this. So you're just going to cook this continuously until the mixture starts to thicken. And now this is a big roasting pan, so it does kind of spread out a bit. But you will see it start to thicken. And you want it to thicken and become smooth. So about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. And we're just going to continue to whisk this. And it is thickening up, but it will become smooth. So just keep whisking. And if you can see, a lot of it has kind of accumulated to that side, so that'll give you a little bit of a better view. And just keep whisking continuously. Okay, and it has been about 2 minutes, so we're going to gradually add this liquid back into the pan, just a little bit at a time. And you're going to continue to whisk at this point as you gradually add it back in, just so that it stays smooth. And you can do this until you reach your desired consistency that you are looking for. Just going to keep whisking that up. And remember, it will also thicken slightly as it sits as well. It'll thicken before you serve it up. So we're going to keep adding some in. Once again, just keep whisking. And now I am going to, my dog, oh Copper, I'm going to just whisk in the rest of it, I think. And I'm going to cook this for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'll probably just go with 5 minutes because I added it back in so slowly. And I will bring you back when it has been 5 minutes. Also, you do not have to whisk constantly at this point. I just whisk occasionally as it's cooking so it doesn't stick to the bottom at all. But you don't have to whisk continuously once all the liquid's been added in. You can just come back and stir it frequently. I don't go too far because it is on medium-high heat, and I don't, once again, want it to gel up and thicken too much. So I'm going to let that go. My last side dish is ready to come out of the oven. And what I have done here is, while the green beans and the stuffing were cooking in this oven over here, I left the oven door open when they were both done. And then once it like warmed up or cooled off enough where it was just warm in the oven, I set the pot of mashed potatoes with a lid in there. So the green bean casserole, the stuffing, and the mashed potatoes are in this oven staying warm. As you can see, I have the oven door open for the sweet potato casserole that's in there. That was the last thing that needed to get cooked. Not reheated, just cooked in general. And once that cools off enough, I'm going to shove the rolls in there for a few minutes to warm those right back up. And I'm going to start getting the cranberry sauce and everything put up in the dishes that we're going to be serving it in. I have whole berry cranberry sauce and a jelly cranberry sauce. We are all getting really hungry, and the kids are playing games in their room right now. So we have the whole berry cranberry sauce that I canned, and this is the jellied cranberry sauce that I canned. Both are extremely delicious, but they are right cold out of the fridge, ready to go. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. I think I stopped my filming. All right, so this is the gravy. It is getting nicely thickened up. I have about 1 minute left on my timer for this. And at this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just shut the timer off because I can kind of eyeball it from this point. Let me get my ladle. So as you can see, it is, well, maybe you can't see, I'm not that close, but my oven's a mess. I'll just show you close up. So it is going to thicken up beautifully, but right now it is absolutely gorgeous. Not too thick, not too thin. And at this point, I am going to go ahead and season this. Now you can use a tablespoon of any herbs that you personally like. If it's rosemary, oregano, let's see, another thyme. I personally last year used thyme, and I fell in love with the taste of the gravy. So what I have here is a tablespoon of thyme, and I am just sprinkling this in, and it is, oh, it was so good last year. And at this time, I'm also going to season it with salt and pepper. You do whatever you want. You can season it once you serve it. I like to season it right now in this final stretch. And I just eyeball it. I just shake it on. Actually, I might just use a little bit more salt. So salt, pepper, whatever herb of choice you want. Once again, oregano and rosemary are really good herbs to use for this. But I love thyme. I absolutely love the taste to it. It's delicious. So we are, I think, good. I am very pleased with what this looks like. It smells so good, and we are all hungry, and we need to carve into this turkey. So I'm gonna get my husband out here. I think it's had probably half an hour, maybe close, maybe 25 minutes to rest, which is plenty good. But guys, so delicious. And I am now going to cut the heat to this, and I'm gonna let this thicken up just a bit in the roasting pan. But once again, just to show you right now, it is just a creamy color. Absolutely perfect. Okay, we are getting ready to eat. We got our stuffing, potatoes, dinner rolls, our pies, cranberry sauce, and our casseroles, our gravy, and of course, the star, our turkey. So I hope you guys give this a try for your next Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. Consider subscribing, and happy Thanksgiving. Take care and God bless.